To start us off, my name is Patrick Ruland. I run the sales and customer success teams for OnCall Air. And I'm going to be your host today. I'm going to be facilitating this panel with our amazing contractors that have joined us here this morning. Before we dive into deeper introductions, content of what we're going to be going through here today, I really quickly just wanted to familiarize everyone with this Zoom webinar format that we're meeting on here today. This is definitely intended to be an interactive presentation here. And so we're going to give you guys a couple of different ways to engage with us throughout the call here. So if you look at the bottom of your screen, you're going to see two different buttons that I want you guys to pay attention to. One is going to be, and actually, Adolfo, is questions turned off and chat turned on, or is questions
Questions
or
is turned on, chat is turned off.
okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
So what you guys will see is there's going to be a button that says chat, or I'm sorry, a button that says questions. You can click that where you can ask your questions. We have a list of pre-submitted questions that we're going to be going through, but we're going to be peppering in questions live from the audience as we go through. So please feel free to put those questions in, and we'll get them answered. We also left some time at the end of the webinar here to just open the floor up even more to you guys. So the other way that you're going to be able to ask questions is by raising your hand. There's a button that looks like a hand like this. When we open up the floor at the end of the webinar here to those that want to jump in live and ask a question to one of our panelists, you guys will have that ability. So lots of ways, great ways for you guys to engage with us. So now that you guys know about the platform, you know who I am. Let's introduce the stars, the rock stars of this webinar here this morning. Our contractors that are on the panel here with us today. So first, let me start with I'm just going to go around the horn on my screen here. Chuck, would you mind introducing yourself? Let us know where you're coming from, where your business is, and what the biggest challenge has been over the last couple of years for you guys.
Yes, my name is Chuck Warner. I work for Joplin's Air Conditioning Heating. That's out of McKinney, Texas. And our company is just 1 year shy of 50 years. And so our biggest challenge over the past couple of years is obviously still, getting back from COVID and, getting all the equipment that we can get, all the different manufacturers that are hitting you up to sell their product. And there's just so many choices, and picking the right choice, the right plan for your company. That's a big challenge year to year, and it changes about that often.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chuck, for joining us here today, and I can't wait to get your feedback on these questions.
Yes, sir.
Going right around the horn, Eddie, a little bit about you, a little bit about the business, and I'm going to give you a different one. How about your favorite feature of OnCall Air?
Interactive, being able to build a proposal within 10 minutes, offering indoor air quality based on the client's needs, and always leading with financing. Not everyone can afford $10, $12, $15,000, but everybody can afford $150 a month. So that's OnCall Air has really checked all the boxes that I needed to be successful.
Awesome. And tell us a little bit about Bass Air Conditioning, Eddie. Where are you guys at? What you part of a larger group? What's the story there?
Yeah, Bass Air Conditioning Company, 74-year-old business, started by the Bass family in 1952. I've been with them for 32 years. That's why we got these gray hairs on this head. Complete commercial, residential service, one-stop shop, plumbing as well. So just always been fortunate to been with these guys, and look forward to a few more years before I can head down to the coast and retire fully.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Just keeping right on track here, Jake. Introduce yourself and Angel Air, and for you, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a layup here. Tell us about your favorite hobby.
Oh, Jesus. Let's see here. So I own Angel Air Cooling and Heating. Been in business for about 20 years out here in Queen Creek, Arizona. Hobby for me is anything outdoors, but mainly either my Bronco, doing a ton of four-wheeling in my old Bronco, or taking the boat out. Go and do a little fishing, man. That's the next go round. Go head up some of these lakes, go do that thing. That's what I enjoy doing. But back to the work side, On-Call Air obviously been good to us. We got a lot of use out of that program. Been in it for a long time now, probably since it's been out in beta form. So yeah, good program, but really helps the business run good. So you can sneak out to the lake a little more often.
I love it. I was just I had to get Jake always has great hobbies. He's always out there doing cool stuff. So I had to give him the opportunity to share that with the rest of us. And then last but not least, Mr. Riccardi, Kyle, tell us a little bit about the business. And how about your favorite job that you've closed on Call Air?
Yeah, my name's Kyle Rishardi. I'm owner of AC Authority out in South Florida, the Treasure Coast, located in Port St. Lucie. We've been in business since 2019. I personally started with me and my wife. And favorite job closed with On-Call Air. Ooh, that's a good one. It'd probably be activated charcoal air purifiers for a high VOC environment. Customer experience migraines, came in with an air quality meter, and had to find a very specialized solution, create the custom accessory in On-Call Air, be able to put good pictures, good details, so they felt like they were making an informed decision and get them a solution that dealt with the problem they had.
That's awesome. That sounds like a discerning customer coming in with their own air quality reader. That's a big one. Awesome. Well, all right. Now, thank you guys so much for the intro, and so happy to have you guys here. And for the group out there watching, there's as you heard, there's a lot of different businesses out here today, right? We've got Texas, we've got Florida, we've got Arizona, we've got the Carolinas. And so there's a lot of experience on this call, but a lot of different use cases as well. So excited to dive in. So to start us off, like to start off with like just growing the sales, improving close rates, obviously a big feature of On-Call Air, a big use case of On-Call Air. So starting with you, Jake, what was the biggest bottleneck in your sales quoting process before you implemented On-Call Air?
Oh, it's the time frame. Without a doubt, it was the time frame. How long it took me to produce a professional looking. I was doing it on Word document. I was trying to upload pictures. I was trying to, get your verbiage all in there correct. Take your time to get that stuff done so I could present something that was better than a pen and paper written on my, carbon copied invoice back in the day of what your estimate was. Once you get On-Call Air tuned up, and it's always going to need fine tuning, but with equipment and stuff that comes in and comes out. But once you get all the line items set in On-Call Air, it's like a flat rate price book for doing new equipment. And even as Kyle mentioned, you can upload the videos, everything. Once you get all that hard work done, creating an estimate that's professional and looks great, it takes 5-10 minutes at most. And they're easily modifiable. You really can take things in and out of the contract much easier and still retains that very professional look. You don't have to, lay everything out on a Word document that's just, you're constantly playing with margins and spend more time goofing around than you do just getting it done. So hands down, the speed in which On-Call Air allows not just myself to produce an estimate, but any of my team members can produce estimates, the techs, the office staff, anyone can do that. Once all the hard parameters are set, it makes it very universal, very quick.
That's awesome. Yeah. That speed of quoting is definitely one of the things that contractors get excited about when they start using the tool, right? Just being able to get a quote to a customer faster is always a challenge. Chuck, I'd love to ask you the same question. I know you deal with a large sales team, right? Maybe some different challenges coming into it. I don't know, consistency. Like what was the big challenge for you guys that you're coming up against in the sales process prior to using On-Call Air? And how's it going now?
I would say information was, the biggest challenge. We were also carbon copy doing it on paper as far as the technicians were concerned. Our company has always held to the true nature that we have one outside sales guy dedicated to do that. And then all of our technicians have the ability to quote. And so that's always been the case. And so when we brought in On-Call Air, we were able to take all the information from all the equipment, all the things that needed to go into the install, and bundle it and put it in a certain place. So it was very easy for the techs to pull that up, get the customer the information the fastest, and with all the information, the customers are happy, and then we're out the door, and they're either bought it at the time, or they're going to buy it within the next day or two from the information that we gave them. So it changed completely how I think the previous guy said time. Time was absolutely it was probably cut days off of doing a proposal and getting an install completed. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, and you touched on something there, Chuck, that I think is a cool, powerful tool of On-Call Air, is that it gives your guys the ability to quote that maybe aren't the polished sales guys, right? They're not the ones that go out there every day with the intent to sell. But you can give them a tool that can convey that value to the homeowner. That's great. Eddie, you raised that hand. Did you have something you wanted to share?
I did, and I always say it in the weekly training that I do is time kills deals. Us being here in North Carolina, home of the 82nd Airborne, those guys, they don't play around. Time kills deals. So I'll give you a quick example. At 9:39 this morning, I had a service tech on a job. It was a warranty issue. There was 5 more days left on a piece of equipment that we didn't install. I called the homeowner to say, this is your repair cost under warranty. I've just emailed you a proposal. If you're planning on staying in this home, I want you just to entertain the idea of looking at that proposal rather than having a 1-year warranty, having a 10-year warranty. Your monthly payment is this. Within about 7 minutes, she had responded back, clicked on sale, and we're going to put that in probably Thursday, weather permitting and permits coming back. So that's the great thing about On-Call Air. So that's my sell of this morning. So we'll see what happens this afternoon.
That is awesome, Eddie. What a great story. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
All right, so I got moving right along. I got another question for the group here. So Kyle, I'm going to pose this one to you since we haven't heard from you yet. What specifically has helped you improve your close rate with On-Call Air? Is it access to quicker pricing? Is it the presentation? What is it that has helped, and honestly, has it helped? How has your close ratio improved?
Well, I guess I don't have a ton of data before using On-Call Air because I've only sold one air conditioner without the platform, but I've been 20 years in the trade, so I have sold on carbon copy and notepad and over the phone and handshake deals and the likes. I'd say the first thing that it's helped is increase my margins, allowing me to use the pricing engine, make sure that I'm set up properly, priced properly. And when I'm done and I back cost, it's dang near identical to what I was trying to sell at. So immediately it's made our installs more profitable and better price controls. I think all the features collectively contribute to a good experience. When we go to close, often it's the presentation at the end of the day and accessibility. Being able to see the product versus a lot of our competitors is just a model number or a SEER rating on a sheet of paper, and there's no real connection the customer has with what they're purchasing. And this is like your third largest purchase in the home, right? You got your house, you got your car, you got your air conditioner, and you got your water heater. And so they're about to spend this big chunk of change, and they don't even really see what they're getting. So yeah, you got leaflets and stuff like that, but being able to tap on it, regularly scroll through, we're a nation of scrollers at this point, and On-Call Air definitely scratches that itch.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think of that as from a prospective buyer myself, right? That I'm new to this industry compared to you guys, right? I only have about 8 years in, but I've seen the cost of an HVAC system nearly triple in my tenure. You can only think of how that can be daunting for a homeowner, and so yeah, getting that information in front of them can be huge. I got one for you, Eddie. So kind of similar on the same line of thought, right? But can you share some of the best practices that your team uses to increase their average ticket size, right? Is it recommending? Is it making sure to show high efficiency add-ons? What do you guys do to make sure that your customers are picking things that kind of tier them up a little bit?
Yeah, great question. Definitely it's going to be first listening to the homeowner and providing the correct solution. And like these guys already said, you're able to custom fit a solution to that homeowner. So in regards to that, are they staying in their home for, us being military, we always question, are you here either 1 to 5 year and gone, or are you going to be here forever? And if they are there forever, then we look at, longer warranties, the better financing that they can afford that. So we listen, and then we build that solution. And on Call Air, you're able to go in and just pick whatever solution best fits that homeowner. And at that point in time, again, hard to justify $12,000-$15,000, but hey, you can handle $150 a month, right? And they always say, yeah, I can handle that. So, and if they don't, then you've got your add discount button. I see it in a lot of people that are retired. When you go, hey, can you need this finance? I got some special promos, and they go, I appreciate that, but what's your cash price? And you kind of see them kind of swell up a little bit. I've done good. I'm just going to write you a check. And I love that because it fits both sides. The younger generation, or the generation that has already done what they needed to be able to afford what they need. So just again,
no, that's awesome, Eddie. And I want to double click on something you just said there, because I think it's something that you touched on. Two things that I think they hit close when we think about how the industry sells. One is you listen to the customer and give them options, right? I can't tell you how often we talk to contractors that join On Call Air and are used to giving a single option to a customer, and now they're giving them maybe a couple of options to upsell, and that customer's upselling themselves just by having the ability to. And then the second one was that financing, like being able to embed financing. The average homeowner has less than $3,000 in their bank account, right? They can't stroke that check for that $15,000 new system. And so giving them those abilities definitely helps. That's huge.
Yeah.
This is me going off script a little bit here. General question for the group. Any of you using the new autopilot feature inside of On Call Air yet?
Every job.
We got Chuck, we got Kyle. Awesome.
My favorite.
For the team out there, we talked about, how can we raise average ticket prices? Well, On Call Air is this awesome new feature that allows you to set rules, right? Like when I sell a heat pump, when I sell this brand of heat pump, when I sell this model of heat pump, I want to automatically recommend these items to my customer. And we know at On Call Air that 1 in 3 customers adds recommended items. So it's a great way to get that upsell. So I was just curious who out there is using it today. So that's great. Glad to hear Kyle and Chuck, you're already on board. And then Jake and Eddie, we got to get you going with that autopilot.
Oh, I got to put some time in that program. It's been on the program itself has been on autopilot for a little bit here. Other than adding equipment, we've kind of have it dialed pretty good. So haven't played around too much with it.
It really changed how it was like one of those upgrades that I got when I first started using On Call Air. I mean, it was that big of an upgrade because you can go in there and put any kind of customization that you want on your proposal and link it to a product or, like you said, a manufacturer or whatever, because everybody's got some certain deal going on every spring, every fall. And so you're able to go in there and put whatever that is visually, in each proposal, and it makes the proposal look twice as good as it did before. So highly recommend.
That's awesome. I don't want to overexpose Chuck, but the team at Joplin's does an awesome job of really tailor fitting their proposals to their customers. So when I know when he says that, it's backed up by some pretty cool results. So I want to move on to talking a little bit about your sales teams and how you guys interact with those sales teams. So Jake, question for you. How do you motivate your sales team to meet and exceed the goals that you set forth for them?
Bottom line for pretty much anyone here, money. So as much as I'd like to say, pats on the back and all that kind of jazz, you do want a motivated sales team no matter what, but you have to set their pay structure, at least for your salesmen that are going out on the regular basis. And that's what they're doing to give them some motivation to do it. And then structure your technicians, depending on how you're paying these technicians. They have to have some structure to get that additional money by creating the sales. And more than that, it was also by creating the backups for them, right? Because my technician needs to leave that house at some point and get to the next call. He can't just stay there all day like a salesman and really, mentoring that sale into fruition. So what I do with that is make sure that the sales team knows when a technician leaves a house that they presented something, so that way they're following up, and that technician knows that my salesman's got my back. He's going to go get that sale for me so I can get my spiff at the end of the day for this program. I set that lead, I set it going forward, but I wasn't able to completely walk them all the way through that due to time restraints. But I got a good solid sales guy behind me that's going to pick up that lead and run with it, no different than I would if I had the time to stay there. So I think setting up your technicians to know that they're not just like, oh, I'm going to send this off and walk out the door. Make sure that they have backup as they go. And bottom line is money. Money motivates the staff. You know, I've done all sorts of things from extra vacations to things like that. But bottom line is money. That's what they're here for. All right, I'm a cool guy. You can go have beers with me on my boat, but you're here to make some money, and that's what they want.
I was gonna say that's all of us run sales teams, and I think we all know salesmen tend to be coin operated, right? So, kind of similar line of question, but a little bit different. So, Chuck, for you and team, you know, obviously, again, going back to the fact that we all run sales teams, right?
Yeah.
Salesmen tend to have their own processes, their own styles. So, how do you balance between like offering a consistent sales process, but also letting kind of that salesman personality to come through?
Yeah, so I wrote in parentheses underneath balance, and I put battle, you know, because that's pretty much what it is. It's a consistent battle of trying to make sure that that the salesmen are following the philosophy that your company has set forth. So whether that philosophy is, you know, for us, it's always about first what does the customer need and fulfilling that need, and you know, giving them options to fulfill that need, whether it's like I think it's Eddie brought up a while ago that the you know could have put a part in, but the customer chose to put in a you know new unit and that sort of thing. You know, we want our techs to do that sort of thing and make sure that the customers have and can choose what's best for them, not just what our techs try to our salesmen try to push. You know, I know that there's other questions in here about you know how you know how follow-ups are done and stuff like that, but we have to do a lot of follow-ups since we have 24 techs out there doing quotes. So it is but everything's here, everything's right there in front of me. I can look from there. I can go into we do Service Titan as far as our management, so I'm able to go into the job and look there. So lots of follow-ups, but yeah, it is a battle to make everything consistent and streamlined.
Yeah, for sure. And you hit on a couple there that, again, going back to that average sales guy, right? We know follow-ups tend to fall off their radar quickly, right? Having the consistency of what you're presenting. So you're saying it gives you the tools you want to have consistency, still letting the team kind of flex their uniqueness is what I hear. That's great.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest features, and you guys have already touched on this a little bit, is time savings, right? We know of the 5,000 sales guys out there that are using On-Call Air on a daily basis to quote, it usually takes them less than 5 minutes to build a quote. So like to pose a question to actually, well, let's pose this one to Kyle. Kyle, we haven't heard from you in a little bit. How do you handle quoting more complex jobs, and how does that work in terms of, you know, timing and consistency with On-Call Air?
Well, since the introduction of flex jobs, that's really been our mainstay for not necessarily unique projects, but projects that require elements outside of a standard installation. So we've taken the time to look back in previous years on common projects that we run across that may give us a curveball and built flex job packages that kind of match that experience, as well as allowing us to still do tiered options. So in our account, you'll find like ductwork jobs, platinum, gold, silver, bronze still. You'll find mini split jobs, platinum, gold, silver, bronze. And what we'll do is we'll preload those with every single possible item that's needed for one of these projects. And then we just are able to do like a take out what you don't need system. It keeps the comfort advisor to be able to still put together that proposal in 5-10 minutes on something that would normally take traditionally maybe an hour or something, you know, by just going, don't need this, don't need this, don't need this, don't need this, bam, they have their price. We set the custom hourly rate in there. So I'll have like simple nodes, hey, additional head, add 4 hours for each item. And it makes it blazing fast, blazing fast. So $20,000 ductwork packages, still 5 minutes. Multi-head mini split project, still 5 minutes. Insulation jobs, unique insulation jobs, still 5 minutes. And we just keep expanding. So we started with 2 or 3 flex jobs. I think we have maybe 10 or 12 now. We try not to make it too messy in there, but it's been a godsend for things outside of a traditional split system put together.
I'd love to, that's great, Kyle. And I'd love to pose the same question to you, Eddie. I know like where you are in the country, you guys get really unique, complex jobs. So how do you guys handle that?
A lot of gritting of the teeth to start off with. Oh God. But no, again, it's like Kyle said, you preset all of your options on the on-call air and each individual job. It's a click away. You know, if you do have a dual zone or a 3-zone, and then, you know, you've got a certain area that you need to rerun, you know, refrigerator pipe and things like that. All those parameters are set in there rather than to sit down on a job estimate sheet and go through every one of those processes to go, all right, it took me, you know, 2-3 hours to do it. You know, 15, 20 minutes, you've got it, you're sitting in front of the homeowner, you look more professional, like you've got it together, and then you're able to present that digital proposal with the financing that you're leading with to give them an opportunity to make that purchase right then. You allow them to buy rather than us sell. And when you give that homeowner that opportunity, because then they don't feel like we're trying to sell or we're pushing this on them. You know, a lot of times I'll quote on-call air, and honestly, I shut up. I act like I don't care if you buy it or not. I got air conditioning. You need it, you know? And so when you do that, you humble yourself because you have a great product like on-call air that's going to back up your solution.
Heck yeah. No, I love that, Eddie. And for the group out there, just because you've heard some features talked about. So both Eddie and Kyle using our flex job functionality, which allows you to build out much more complex jobs that you can just have canned and ready to build. So sounds like that's really helped on the streamline side. And I got one more question on speed for you. I'll pose this one to Chuck. Chuck, on average, how long is it taking your team to build a proposal?
10 minutes. I mean, even my average tech, 10 minutes. I often find myself getting myself into trouble because I'll be talking to a customer on the phone and I need to go in and redo the proposal completely or something along those lines. And I'll say, yeah, I'll send that over in about 30 minutes. And then I hang up the phone and I'm like, well, now I have to find something else to do for 25 minutes before I send it. You know, because it's only going to take me 5 minutes because I've been doing it for, 6-7 years. So, it's very, very fast.
What I was going to say too, just to throw in on this, what's nice for the younger techs that are out in the field, I got a lot of young staff here. I love the ability to be able to see exactly what they're trying to do from the backside. I can log into the same exact estimate instead of them, the old pen and paper thing. You kind of left them on their own over there. I can review it real quick. I have techs sometimes that ask questions. They're young. They're not real sure about how the installation process goes. So they'll just shoot off a quick text. Hey, can you review this real quick? And I can pop in, review it, make sure it looks good. Ask maybe the tech a couple questions. Hey, did you check this? You check that? And I know that it's going to be a perfectly good estimate. So even when you have young staff, the ability to be able to share that data instantly, whether I'm in the office and they're out in the field or wherever you're at, that's actually super convenient to be able to do that as well, and it keeps everything super consistent.
Yeah, it's almost like it's almost like you have insight into every job, right? You can never spread yourself thin enough to make it to every single sale on every single job site, right? But if you can get in there and see what the team is quoting, you can verify that they're doing it in the way that you want them to, right?
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
I've been on a beach before, and on vacation, and looked up a quote on my phone to help one of my techs out. So doesn't matter where you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. I love that. So I want to change gears a little bit here and talk a little bit about homeowner experience, right? Because at the end of the day, right, we want to make sure that contractors have a great experience inside of on-call air, but if the homeowner's not having a great experience, we kind of lost, right? So, Kyle, I'm going to pose this one back to you. What has customer feedback been like on your proposals?
Yeah, honestly, we actually get reviews from On Call Air. They don't know it's from On Call Air, but like they leave us 5-star reviews about the experience, and they're just basically listing features of the platform. So, felt comfortable with reviewing the product, was confident in my decision. The comfort advisor was able to show me like these keywords that I see when I look at our reviews from the sales experience is like that's On Call Air, that's On Call Air, that's On Call Air. Again, I've been on paper before. I've also done spreadsheets before. I've also done QuickBooks Basic invoicing and stuff like that before. And I just see the comfortability increase with what they're purchasing, and it matches more of the modern buyer experience. And so we get that direct feedback 1-to-1 when our comfort advisor is sitting at the kitchen counter with them. Also, after our installers are done, when that review comes in, we can see it right there. So it definitely builds a lot of confidence in that process and that the product is providing the value that we're looking for.
That's awesome. And I'd love to get to ask you the same question, Eddie. Any feedback from customers on the proposal or how they interact with it?
As crazy as this sounds, I get so many times, thank you for not selling me and letting me pick out what I needed for my home. I allow them to buy. And that's what On Call Air allowed me to do. Stop being a salesman, put the solution, let them buy it.
I love that. Yeah, because you said it before, right? They need it, right? And they want it,
Yeah.
right? This is this is my home comfort. I need this solution. So let them pick what they want. I love that.
Yeah.
Jake, coming to you. I know I'm jumping around a little bit, guys, but we have some awesome questions in here, and I want to make sure that we get to some of the highlights. So I'm looking at diving into some features. So Jake, I know, and we had some questions come through with this, so I think it's a great place for us to start. Jake, I know that you use On Call Air with House Call Pro. Can you talk about that process for you and how you kind of use those tools together?
Yeah, On Call Air mixes obviously really nice with House Call Pro. The ability to upload all the customers' data directly out of House Call Pro straight into On Call Air makes it quick and easy, so you're not having to hand key a few more things in. Makes it so once again, if a technician's on a job site and he needs an estimate created, it's one quick text to the CSR. She can bang out that information, instantly makes that estimate right off the CSR platform in House Call Pro. And then all the technicians doing or infield salesmen's doing is just clicking into On Call Air, and there's the proposal, and then they start their half of filling it out. So it blends really, really nice with that ability. We won't talk about House Call Pro, the SIS ability to do that, but that's a different story. But as far as you have someone on staff, it goes real quick, and that once again, keeping all that data seamless, keeping all that data accurate, so no one's mistyping, no one's accidentally putting in the wrong email address or something like that, fat fingering something, and then the customer's not receiving that data. This data from House Call Pro has already been verified by your CSR. They've already been out. They're out at the house at this moment, so we know the addresses are right, things of that nature, all right. So keeping it all nice and organized is really, really convenient and super fast. Like I said, if a tech needs that estimate, you don't have to, produce one and then erase it. You can just add it at the time needed. I mean, the CSRs can do that so quickly and seamlessly, and it's just a matter, by the time the tech gets out to grab the tablet and start typing on it, it's already there.
Beautiful. I love it. And then Chuck, your team you guys are a Service Titan house, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Same question to you. Like where's the value that On Call Air adds into that you don't get out of Service Titan?
So yeah, once we got into Service Titan, I'd probably been using On Call Air for probably 5 years or 6 years at that point. So Service Titan always had their own method of doing proposals, and I'll be honest, I tried to put it in there to see what their proposal system looked like, and it was such a pale in comparison that we ended up still, and it was free. I'm still paying for On Call Air because it's that much better than what Service Titan could provide. So by far it exceeded and still exceeds today. I haven't found anything better as far as making the proposal with the right information, and all the add-ons that you guys have are wonderful. But yeah, with as far as the integration with ServiceTitan, much in the same way that he just described.
That's great. Yeah, and you know, we're strong believers here that those field service management platforms they're necessary and they're very powerful, right? But they tend to lack a little bit on that sales process, and so that's really where OnCall Air comes through and shines. So sounds like it's doing its job for both you guys on the House Call Pro and ServiceTitan side. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Moving on, Kyle, question for you, sir. I know that you do recommending inside of your proposals. What do you have a strategy around that? And what are the items that you tend to recommend most often or see the like highest close ratio on when you're creating your on-call air proposals?
So as you know, we use Autopilot, which makes recommending a breeze. So prior to Autopilot, it was a 10-minute proposal because you would spend all that time recommend. Now you just legitimately tap that one button and it preloads all your IAQs, surge protector thermostats, things of that nature. We basically try to provide that. We don't believe in taking options off the table for the customer. So our recent discussion is about not bundling everything anymore and just recommending it. And what we're really thinking about doing now is, so we'll do all the IAQs, air purifier, UV light filter cabinet, surge protector, and thermostat. We may also recommend flex jobs as well. If your insulation is low, we'll do R19 blown in as well. So we can really expand that entire section. We've also played around with doing IAQ packages as flex jobs. We have our platinum package, gold package, silver. So the platinum contains the UV light air purifier filter cabinet. The gold is just the air purifier and UV light and things of that nature. What we're really thinking about doing this year is using Autopilot, recommending them all, going into each proposal, adding them so that they get to see that final price with all the products in there. And you have that financing. So it's showing them the price of each accessory when financed. And that way, our consumer has an opportunity to remove it themselves. If they don't want it in the package, they want to reduce their price, they have that control. Nobody wants to see the price go up, right? Everybody wants to see the price go down. So if I give you my best package, my best offering with all the accessories, my UV light, my air purifier, my filter cabinet, my surge protector, and thermostat, and then you can see how much you can remove from your proposal by doing that, I think that's going to be a really awesome experience this year.
That's awesome. Yeah, that autopilot feature is a game changer, right? Just the consistency of knowing, hey, I'm going to have something recommended on every single job I do, no matter what, no matter how busy my sales team gets. If they get distracted, they get excited about another job. I know that those autopilot recommendations are going in. So I love that.
Always recommendations. Always make them remove them, and you'd be surprised how many keep them.
Right. Yeah. And again, we know 30%, right? 30% isn't like the guys out there that are doing this the best. That's not the highest close ratio. That's the average. We've got companies out there that close in the 60, 70, 80% on recommendations. So yeah, it's one of the easiest and simple ways to up your average ticket size in on-call air. So love that you guys are using that. Eddie, you talked a little bit about financing, right? And that you guys obviously sell with it on every job. Can you talk a little bit about what your strategy is with financing? Like, where do you see consumers seeing value in it? And, how do you guys leverage that to close?
Typically, I do not use the word financing. I'll use promos. And, Patrick, today I've got a couple of promos that we're offering on this solution for you. Would you be interested in the 135 or would you like the 12 months no interest? Which one would better suit you in your budget?
I see. Sounds like you're going to save me on the interest. I'll go with that 12-month no interest, Eddie.
Patrick, I've got set up for a Thursday install. We'll be starting at 8:30. Is that time good for you?
Oh, that's beautiful. That's perfect.
All right. You go ahead and sign that contract, Patrick. We'll go ahead and get the permits and equipment ordered, and thank you for allowing us to be your solution.
that you can't ask for anything better than that, right?
Well, hold on, Patrick. We hadn't done your credit yet. We're already approved. Don't worry about that. It's just a couple of 5 minutes, and we're going to run through this. So let's get started, Patrick.
No, I love that approach. All joking aside, right? Homeowners need financing, period. right? We know that the vast majority of homeowners are not going to be able to do it. If they are writing a check or they're swiping their credit card, they're doing it on a 27% interest, right?
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, that's huge.
We definitely lead with financing because we're not going to assume that you need financing, you want financing, or you're financially able to stroke a check for it. It gives a good avenue just to go down to say, hey, look, this is what I've got, and then they get to come back with the pride thing of, yeah, hey, I want you financing, or no, I don't need it. So there's always three options for that. It's either the terms, the 12 months, or hey, you can pay for it at completion. And with on-call air, you're able to go ahead and set it up in that price that if they decide to do a cash, hey, you've got it covered with your cost for your credit cards and things like that. So it's just, again, you can't lose with on-call air. You simply can't.
I think maybe we just kill it right there. We got Eddie saying you can't lose with on-call air. There's 17 minutes left, but
I still need you to hit that accept button, Patrick.
Don't worry about the terms. Just read right through that.
Yeah, breeze right through that.
Thanks.
That signature on the bottom.
Oh, that's how you know we got some serious sales guys on here. Everyone's itching to even close the fictitious sale, right? So another kind of feature, I guess, I want to talk about with on-call air, right? You get some data insights in on-call air. We debuted Data Plus this year. We're launching that in the next couple of weeks here with even more insight. So, Chuck, for you, what information do you tend to go back to inside of on-call air? Like, what do you focus in on to narrow teams' performance, right? Like, what are you looking at to measure that?
Really, I'm looking at currently right now we've been a carrier dealer for almost 50 years solely, and over the past few years we've brought in some other brands. And so for me, it's looking at how that matrix pans out between the type of equipment that we're quoting, who is quoting what, because that kind of tells you techs do get they get loyal, let's put it that way, to a brand. And so you want to see what they're offering the homeowners, as well as what homeowners are choosing. So right now, that's my biggest focus is what is everybody looking at and how's that playing out on an everyday basis.
That's great. Same question to you, Kyle. I know you dive into the metrics quite a bit. What are the metrics that you're looking at for your team?
Yeah, it's going to be that coaching report that we get every day. I have that go from my email automatically to the sales team on Slack. So we all have that transparency. Activity is going to be one of my favorite metrics by far. We're as an AC company, home service provider, we're the last to hear no. Often we don't hear no at all. And we're also the last for them to be honest about how interested they are, right? They keep their cards close to their chest. And that activity, honestly, is the most glaring detail about it. So my company advisor will reach out, say, hey, did you get that proposal? Oh yeah, I got it, but they've never opened it once, right? They haven't clicked on a single thing. So there's that buyer. And then there's the other one, maybe I'll get around to it. They've opened it 42 times that week, right? They're 3 a.m. spamming different options to take a look. It gives us a little bit more clarity and allows us to position ourselves better when we have those discussions. I think some of the other cool ones are with my vendor, like what products we sell the most. So on the back end, from an operator's perspective, when we do projections and floor plans and what products do we need at our local branch and stuff like that, be able to pull that report and sit down and go, hey, look, 3.5 ton air handlers. I did 42 of them in this span of time, and you only keep 1 or 2 at the branch. I'm going to need you to bump that number up. We need like 4 or 5 on hand. Speed is imperative in our trade. We do same day, next day installs. So knowing that product is ready to go for us is really helpful. So activity, the sales coach, and then the sold product report.
I love it. So I wouldn't call this a layup question. I would call this more of kind of like almost a closing question, but it's not a closing question because we're going to open it up to the floor. But this will round out our canned question. So, Jake, what advice would you give a contractor that's looking to grow, right? Hey, I'm that guy. I'm stuck at 1.5 and I want to get to 2. I'm stuck at 4 and I'm trying to get to 5. I'm stuck at 8 and I'm trying to get to 10. You know, what would be the piece of advice that you'd give that contractor looking to grow?
God, it's the one that was pounded into my head for months and months and years before I actually took advantage of it. Know your numbers. You got to know what it takes to what's your break even point. And all of us, I don't know what any of these other contractors, how they pay, right? There's different, you got to know for your company, right? So for my company, everything's done in-house. There is no 1099 employees. Everyone's got full benefit package. So my break even number is pretty freaking high in comparison to someone that's going to sub out every single one of these jobs, doesn't have an install crew. They're going to 1099 every one of these individuals. Their break-even point is going to be lower than mine, right? So needing to know that, because I will tell you, as a young contractor, before I really started to know my numbers, I was not making very much money at this business at all. It was, it was functional, and sure, I was growing the company and stuff, but until I really sat down and learned the numbers, I didn't know where my break-even points were. I didn't know how much money I needed to bring in on each one of these jobs. And using the tools that OnCall Air has in the background, you can fine tune your gross profitability or net profitability, excuse me, on these jobs and figure out where your break even point is. So that way, that's useful even getting into explaining to my sales techs, like, look, here's the bottom end of this job, right? We have a couple of different, percentages that we can run the jobs at. And we have a winter rate for us out here in the desert, right? We're not real busy, when it's, we're golfing in shorts and t-shirt here, and we're about to hit 90 degrees this next week. So heating's really not our issue, but so we slow down quite a bit in the wintertime, but you need to know what you can slow down to. So if we pick a winter rate versus our summer rate, when it's $1.20 outside, nobody really questions much on your price at $1.20. They're just like, how fast? Right? Just like Kyle said, like, we got to do it now. And so knowing those rates and knowing where you can set those, and then advising your staff of, hey, look, here's where you can come in at the bottom, but you can't come in any less than that. Mm-hmm. There's no, and that's what's great about OnCall Air, right? Like, you're setting those parameters. So that way the infield staff can almost not mess it up at all. I mean, it is very hard for them to make mistakes that would cost the company money on a contract when you're running at that low margin side, like us in the wintertime. That's the side that it's most important to pay attention to the numbers and make sure that we're not messing that up and hitting numbers that, aren't profitable for us, because that's never good. So I'd say know your numbers, grow your company, know your numbers. I didn't learn them soon enough. Should have learned them way sooner, but
that's very, I would say that's very sound advice. You can't grow. You can't grow if you're not profitable, right? So no. Couldn't agree more with that one. And then this will be the last question before we open it up to the group. Eddie, I'm going to ask you this one. If for our contractors out there in the audience today that are on the fence, right? I've seen it. I'm just not sure yet. I'm looking for a push one way or the other. What would you tell them about OnCall Air?
Scared decisions does not make money.
Scared decisions don't make money. I love that.
Yeah. How long have I been with OnCall Air now? 3, 4, 5 years. And the first time that we did the OnCall Air versus my handwritten estimates, I remember it was $87 difference. Doing it digital, they love it, or the old way. And I looked up at my vice president of operations and I smiled. I was like, game changer. That's back when I was doing, $1.7 million, $2 million a year. This year, I was able to close $5.2 million in sales.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody's with SBE. They're based. Okay, so I got lucky last year because I got a great team here. I did it was 4.7 last year. So took first place, and then got lucky this year and took first place again at 5.2. That takes a whole company, but OnCall Air allows me to send digital proposals to anyone in the 82nd Airborne, the entire world. I've sent it to battle zones, bomb zones, wherever. Again, if you don't want to take the opportunity to change and go to a format like OnCall Air, you're going to be in the same situation tomorrow. It's not going to change. but if you take the risk, let on-call air be the game changer, you'll be successful. It has supported a lifestyle that I've come to enjoy as well as my family. So big thanks to On-Call Air for that.
Oh, thank you, Eddie. I appreciate that. And just because I can't let it just get glazed over there. What Eddie's talking about is they leverage the SBE training platform. Eddie is number one of all of the salespeople on their platform. He is number one, and not only is he number one, you look at that top 10, and his team is sprayed across that thing like a shotgun blast, right? So yeah, it's that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, very happy with On-Call Air.
Heck yeah. Well, we're 8 minutes to the top of the hour in our stop time. So I want to make sure that we have a couple of minutes to go through some of the questions that came through in our Q&A chat. Thank you everyone who went in there and answered. I'm going to try to get through these as quick as we can here. And if there's a couple of questions that I can answer or that are more just platform questions, I'll try to do those kind of quickly here. So first question from JP Hill. Do most people just use On-Call Air for install quotes, or do they also use it for service options? So from my perspective, yes, we have contractors that use it on both. Our bread and butter was the replacement sale, but we have tools now that we've created like FlexJob that really allow you to do those additional job types. I see Chuck nodding his head. I see Eddie. I know Kyle talked about that. He builds those jobs out as well. So yes, that is something that we have capability for. We had a question about ServiceTitan. So yes, we do integrate with ServiceTitan. We integrate directly with HouseCall Pro as well. So the question from John was, we use ServiceTitan for our invoicing. How do you guys bill through it using On-Call Air? Does it have a breakdown of the equipment or anything? I'm just curious what you guys do. So John, again, I'm gonna quickly answer this for the group just because for sake of time. So the way it works today is On-Call Air sends a static dollar amount to ServiceTitan. Item to item mapping integration is debuting this week. So realistically, if you're not on Call Air today, by the time you got up and running, you'd have live item to item mapping ServiceTitan to On-Call Air. For those on the call today, obviously they'll be getting that feature in their tool this week.
I can help with HouseCall Pro. We just literally copy and paste it into a line item for there, and it pastes the whole contract in one shot. In HouseCall Pro is what we do.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jake. I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. Anyone on the group using GoodLeap financing? Eddie, Chuck, Jake, Kyle?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Best financing ever.
Yeah. Best financing ever?
Closing rates went up over all my local banks as well as credit unions. And I was dealing with some of the bigger banks. GoodLeap will go down to 640, 650 credit scores. You do a 4 to 5 minute pre-approved. You're already approved, Patrick. I just need you to put your information in there. We'll get this going. It's a GoodLeap game changer. If you have not interacted with GoodLeap yet, do yourself a favor, get signed up.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. GoodLeap, partner of On-Call Air, have had nothing but amazing feedback about their team, about their approval rates, their support system. So, John, if you're considering new lenders, I think the group's in consensus here that GoodLeap's a good partner for you.
Yeah. Their cost to contractor is real nice.
I'm going to ask this one to you guys instead of me trying to answer this one because I think we'll see some variety here, right? So JP Hill asked, what devices are you guys using out in the field? Are you using tablets, iPads, computers, phones? What does your team quote with out in the field?
Tablets.
iPad.
Kyle, you're on iPads too, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
so
iPad.
The group here definitely doing like what we would consider best practices, right? Having that tablet as your presentation piece is it's just a better experience for the homeowner. That being said, we've got contractors using every device out there. We've got guys that only do it on their phones. We've got guys that walk in with laptops. We've got guys that don't even build them on site. They go back to their desktop in their office to do it. Not the best way, but you can use it on any device. And as you can see here, though, kind of best practice is using a tablet for that presentation quality.
Exactly.
With using this is the one I'm going to ask you, Jake, as our House Call Pro guy. With using OnCall Air integrated with House Call Pro, can you offer a different financing solution than WiseTech?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can pick any financing you want. And now, I mean, I don't know, it's been a while since you guys added the option to, depending on which financing you click, you can offer 3 different versions of the financing to the homeowner, allowing the homeowner to click whichever financing option they want. So you can offer them 60 months. You can offer them, hey, maybe they want a short term and they just need to, a lot of, we're in a relatively wealthy area. So being able to offer, something that's short term for someone who has the money, they just need to shovel a few things around and they just need that, short term financing real quick. They don't care that it's, $800 a month. They're planning on banging it out and less than that. So, they'll being able to pick that option is nice.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of just having the options for the customer, right? You never know what someone's situation is, who they're going to get approved with, who they're not going to get approved with. It's always just good to give them the options, right? Let them pick and decide where to say yes or you say no.
Absolutely. You don't know if they got that CD sitting there that's about to be mature and they're like, perfect, I'm gonna pay for this unit with this.
This is a great one. This is from Randy. Do you worry about having the customer use your proposal to go shop around with competitors?
I can help with that. Ours are set for 7 days. After 7 days, it's expired. So that came about actually through 2020. Wasn't really for shopping as much, a little bit for shopping, but when things were moving so quickly with the equipment, you couldn't leave them out there that long. But yeah, no, shorten the time limit. It's available. You can always reach back out and send it. I mean, to turn the estimate back on for another week or whatever is you don't have to redo the estimate. You just redo the time frame that it's available.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it looks like Eddie's got that process down as well.
And it's funny because it's sad, but this is where my life is. I watch OnCall Air, which proposal they're looking at more than I do ESPN.
That's a sale right there. Don't tell Disney. Don't tell Disney.
And then you call back and say, hey, Patrick, I noticed, I was thinking, option 3, that seems like that's going to be the best fit for you. Well, Patrick, I know you've been looking at option 3, Yeah. So then it just opens up that conversation, and then you get to have an easy conversation about well, Patrick, what do you like about that? If you were choosing that today, why do you think that fits you the best? And it gets you to start buying rather than me selling.
Heck yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm having too much fun. I look up at the time and we are literally at time. So I think this was the very first time we've ever done this, guys, doing a contractor panel. And I think that based on participation, the questions that were asked that we didn't even get a chance to get to, I think that we're going to be doing more of these. That being said, though, we'll make sure that all of these questions get answered. If we didn't get to your question, we'll be sending out follow-ups. We'll be sending out a recording of this webinar. I want to just quickly thank Eddie, Chuck, Jake, Kyle, guys. Couldn't appreciate you more spending the time to share your experience and your learnings with the tool. Love you guys for being on here, and thank you so much. And then for everyone else, thank you guys for taking the time to be on here with us today. Look for the recording to come via email. We'll be sending a link where if you haven't done a demo of OnCall Air yet, you can book a demo. But thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.
Hey, Patrick, I'm also going to pull up a slide here so that anyone that's on the call that wants to book a demo with OnCall Air can feel free to using this QR code.
Awesome. We'll leave the meeting open for a minute here just so that you've got that QR code up. And then Kyle, Chuck, Jake, Eddie, feel free to drop, guys. We appreciate the heck out of you. Go out there and close some deals. Eddie, I'll have that signed proposal back in your inbox this afternoon.
I'm just refreshed. I'm not seeing it.
Let's see.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Awesome. Thanks, Patrick. See ya. See you
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
Bye.